Introduction to English Language Teaching and Learning. Topics to be covered in this module. What is human language? How we learn language. How we teach language. Teaching English to speakers of other languages, TESOL. Teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL. TEFL and TESOL, what's the difference? Understanding cultural backgrounds. Getting started in TEFL. What is human language? Human language is the expression of human consciousness with an intelligible set of utterances. The first recorded instance of human language was 5,000 years ago. But many think that humans had the capacity for language long before that. Cave paintings from the Neanderthal period are the earliest evidence of intelligence. They are also argued to be the earliest form of written language. Primary functions of language: communication, expression of human consciousness, expression of identity and creativity. The human need to express identity is one of the reasons why the English language is so popular globally. How we learn language. This section will explore 4 theories on how we learn language. The innatist position draws on Noam Chomsky's idea of universal grammar, UG. This proposed that all humans are born knowing the fundamental rules of language. It argues that UG is why it's easy for humans to learn their first language. It's thought that access to UG lessens with age as it's harder to learn a second language in adulthood. The interaction hypothesis argues that social interaction is necessary for second language acquisition, SLA. A native speaker, NS, must speak to a learner in a comprehensible way and give them feedback on mistakes. Sociocultural theory argues that it is in interaction that development occurs. This differs from the interaction hypothesis. The interaction hypothesis argues that learners internalize language from the interaction. But this theory of learning is social and happens on the spot. Emergentism offers a new way of viewing language. It argues that in using language we change it. Emergentists reject the innatist position. They propose that language acquisition draws on previous encounters with the language. These encounters, such as a text message, can offer new ways to use language. How we teach language. Basing teaching on a single theory is impossible, and there is not one single way to teach language. Teachers adapt their methods with experience and depending on the learners. Yet, there are basic guidelines you should follow. Debates and discussions and reading and writing tasks help learners communicate with success. Form-focused tasks help learners develop accurate form and grammar and lasting knowledge. Learners should have autonomy. Create a survey that assesses students' preferred learning strategies and beliefs about learning. Other methods include self-assessment and self-directed learning. Learners develop awareness by learning the language's pragmatics. They should also learn how language constructs power relations. Teaching English to speakers of other languages, TESOL. TESOL is a more modern method than TEFL, teaching English as a second language, and TESL, teaching English as a second language. It encompasses both. In England, we use it instead of the term ESL. TEFL only involves teaching those whose native countries don't use English in daily life. TESL is for teaching people whose countries use English in some capacity. This could be for business or government affairs. TESOL is for teaching non-native English speakers living in an English-speaking country. It helps with using English in daily life, such as going shopping or eating at a restaurant. Teaching English as a foreign language, TEFL. Teachers use TEFL for teaching learners in a country where English isn't used in day-to-day life. TEFL involves working and living abroad and is most often based in school classrooms. But it is also needed by private language schools, universities, businesses, government-sponsored programs, charity organizations, religious organizations and private tutoring. The main focus of TEFL is to convey the English language in an understandable yet engaging way. Methods include listening, speaking, writing and reading tasks. TEFL teachers also use coursebooks, audiovisual aids and technology-based materials. TEFL seeks to educate students in grammar, vocabulary, reading, listening comprehension and speaking. TEFL and TESOL. What's the difference? Despite having different meanings, TEFL and TESOL are often used interchangeably. TEFL focuses more on the academic side of English, while TESOL focuses more on daily life. For example, students who want to study abroad in an English-speaking country would have likely learned English via TEFL. When they go to the English-speaking country, they can learn everyday English via TESOL. This shows that learning to teach using both TEFL and TESOL is valuable. This is because learners often need day-to-day English as well as academic English. Understanding cultural backgrounds. As a TEFL teacher, you'll be teaching students of varying cultural backgrounds. Thus, it's important to be aware of and understand cultural differences. How can you make sure of this? Develop an understanding of your students' beliefs, values, attitudes and behaviors. Ask your colleagues what they've experienced in their classrooms. Research the cultural characteristics, history, customs and taboo topics of the country. This also means being aware of your own actions. If you happen to be teaching in your own country, make students aware of your culture. How to be a culturally responsive teacher. Assess your own behavior, be aware of your actions. Pointing, touching or holding eye contact might not be appropriate in certain cultures. Adapt your teaching, review your teaching practices to check what works and what doesn't. Get to know your students. Get to know each student's cultural background by speaking to them on an individual basis. Create a judgment-free zone. Foster an environment where the students view culture with an unbiased opinion. Encourage students to discuss and ask questions about cultural topics. Be inclusive. Teach content that includes the different cultures of your students. Don't focus on one specific culture. Getting started in TEFL. Here are some helpful steps to get started in TEFL. Make sure you can speak English well and learn your destination's language at a basic level. It will be much easier to find a TEFL job working abroad than on home turf, so we recommend applying abroad. Start looking for jobs during summer, as contracts usually start in September or October. Some start in January, so you can also look in December. There are often short summer contracts available too. Figure out if you need a visa, travel vaccines and travel insurance ahead of time. Save up some money and don't close your home bank account. Summary. In this module you learn the following. The human language allows us to express human consciousness and identity and creativity. It is our main mode of communication. There are 4 main theories on how we learn language. These are the innatist position, the interaction hypothesis, the sociocultural theory and emergentism. There is no single way to teach language. Teachers should adapt their methods depending on the learners and experience. TEFL and TESOL are often used interchangeably, but they have different meanings and purposes.